welcome back to Ed's Real Estate Roll-Up. Now this beauty I've got to show you is known as Copper Manor, mainly due to the expensive copper used on the front of the house. But as you can see, this house has a nice looking view of plains, a bit of a swamp and a forest. It's got beautiful looking paneling on this side with some wood and deep slate and basalt, and all the different wood types blend together in a very awesome looking way. And then on the back of the house, you can see it's got even more deep slate and wood. And then it has this lovely cornered area with a lovely granite roof. You can see that this took a while to get the designs and architecture right, but it was worth it in the end, as you can see. And then it has the front area around here where it forms together into this alfresco. And you can see it has some lovely automatic lamps, only turn on at the right time. And then has this lovely looking alfresco, as I've said. And then I'll just show you quickly inside. In the front here you have a lovely floorboarded area with all your storage and crafting and smelting needs. Then further into this room you have your television set, your enchanting table, and a couple of other things, and a nice looking rug. You can see they've got a couple of pot plants. Then in the side area's got this calcite floor with a lovely area to listen to any disc you or hardware want, with a couch and a coffee table. Then it's got the main table here. Then here you have the staircase, another pot plant, and then the exit to the alfresco. And then up here in the roof, you've also got this lovely little area here with a lovely looking rug and some ender chests, and a lovely panelled bed with a lamp at the side of it. So how much does this house actually cost? Just for the price of 20 diamonds, you get all the building supplies that you could ever need to build this place. However, the furniture's all included, that's extra, same with the redstone lights. But all you gotta do is watch this video and you should be able to construct the house just like this from what I provide in this tutorial. This has been Ed's Real Estate Roll-Up. Goodbye. What's up guys, Eddie67716 here, and welcome back to my second tutorial on building. Now in this tutorial I'm going to show you actually how to build a house using the points I showed you in my last building tutorial. So let's get right into it. Point 1. Location. Now when it comes to building a location of the house, check out my last video, and what I plan to do is I want a house that has like a lakeside view. So this lake is a good area. So I want to build a similar house to the one that you saw earlier in this video, but it's going to use a different palette and have a different design for the top. But what I want to do is I want to kind of merge it into the landscape a little bit more if possible. So I might have like a bit of stone foundation where the land like declines. So I'm thinking I might build some of it off here and then have some sort of staircase area, but what I'll do is I'll clear the trees and then think of what I'm gonna do. Okay, I think I've figured a basic plan for how this build is gonna go down. So it's gonna have the storage area over here with a little bit overhanging the lake. Then it's gonna have a grand staircase down here with these trees cleared out. Then it's gonna connect downwards a little bit to where the main building will be, where like it will have a lot of room. And over here I have a small diagonal building which will house the bedroom and some sort of alfresco area. And the alfresco might be on an overhang too, but this should be a decent location. Just little bits of terraforming where needed. What I'm gonna try to do here, which I haven't really shown you, is try to build a house that suits the area instead of building an area that suits the house. So now that that's done, we can get on to the second step. Step 2. Shape. Now for the shape of the house, it's usually a good idea to mark it out with a block. Usually it's good to do it with the block you plan to build it out of. So since the inner wall is going to be granite, I'm going to use this as a marking area. And what I'll need is, for the storage area, I want enough room for about 12 chests, and I want it to have an odd number of blocks so it can be a single door. So what you gotta imagine is like the chest area, then some blocks here, and then a door, then some blocks here, and then just round it off a bit since it's gonna overhang a little bit. I'm gonna add some stone underdoings using deep slate. So if I have a wall, this will be the wall, this will be where the chests are, then 3 blocks, door, 3 blocks here, chests, wall. So if I need enough chests, I'll have enough area for some logs, 2 chests, logs, 2 chests, logs, 2 chests, and then more logs, and then 2 chests. Well, I meant 12, I meant like 12 longer chests. Well, actually I don't know the exact number, but what I want is 4 groups of chests. So if I want logs here with chests here, logs, chests, logs, chests, logs, chests, and then logs here. So this is going to be the basic perimeter of the storage area. Then I can build off a wall around here, and then connect it over. So then this is how big I want the storage area to be. Then over here will be like where the main area is. It's going to come down a few blocks with maybe a small connecting area down here. And I'll just get the rest marked out for this area. It should be simple, just got to build it on a lower plane. So this area doesn't really matter if it's odd or even, because it's going to connect into the side area. But I do want it to have an odd number of blocks this way, so that the roof is easy, and maybe I can have a little area over here with a back door. Okay, so I've moved this back a bit. I'll make the staircase a little different. Like, I will have to terraform a little bit here, but we'll be using a staircase that comes between these 2 lakes, and then a path that heads here. So now that this building is done, we can start by building this building. Now usually it's best idea to keep walls in line with each other. So what I'm going to do is connect down here, and then this will form where the frontal area of the house is. And this area doesn't have to be too huge, but I'll make it around about this long. One thing to bear in mind when you're building the shape is when you want to do a second layer, you want to make some very well looking windows, it's a good idea to think like, if your second layer you might have a pillar of some sort here. Then if it's a 1 or 2 block jut, make that into account. Then maybe have 3 blocks for the area, then have 4 blocks for the window, then 3 blocks for the area, and then that will allow for an area that can later be extended. So this will be the basic wall. However, for the side area, now when you build a side area, it's a good idea to build it like this and not like this, because when you want to do glass panes, it has to be like this, because the glass will just be in little poles. Or you could use normal glass, but panes often always look better. Now what I want to do is, since I made this an 11 block thing, so I gotta find the middle block, which should be here. Okay, that's 4 or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Oh, I made it 10. I need to jut it out 1. So it's almost always a good idea to make an odd number of space. It makes roofs a little trickier, but allows for more symmetrical floor design. So I'm just going to extend that out a block. Now for side sections, it's a lot more technical than doing a normal thing. So what I want to do is have it that the sides will meld into like the areas. So I'm going to build a marking off here to show where the side is going to go until it reaches the 11th block. Which, okay, the middle block. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then it's going to come back this way. And this will be the beginning of the section that, like, goes off. And I think I want to have this section, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, come out another 7 blocks. So just gotta make sure 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, no, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So this will be the corner, and then I'm gonna make this come around until it all meets back together in the same place. Okay, I've basically finished the entire shape. So what I've decided is this part will be an open room, and it's going to connect very well into that bit. So this will all meld well together, and I basically got the whole shape done. I could probably put some grass and dirt in here. So remember the second layer, which I'm going to build, is going to cover this all up. Like, you don't have to build it a 2-block layer house. You can build single block or only have little bits fit 2 blocks. But that also depends on how you roll, and things like that can matter. But I'm going to build a 2-block using that a palette that I'm going to show you in a second. But now let's go right on to the third part. Part 3, block palette. So this right here is the block palette I've come up with. It has a decent amount of greys, a few browns, and a little bit of pink. So as you can see, the main walls are going to be made out of granite and jungle. Then the second layer is going to be made with deep slate and basalt, and then up here mostly wood types, and the roof can be built out of brick. I'm going to use this design for the first story buildings. Then the second story building I'm going to use some of this. And for the roof of the first story building I might use, probably the best thing to go with this might be a spruce wood roof. But that should be the entire paddock done, and now I'll just go back to the other world to start building it. Okay, now the first thing to do once you've chosen your palette is, in my opinion, build the entire wall of the house. So, like, this is the first story, it's going to be made of granite. So it depends on how high you want the ceiling. For example, if you want a 3-block high ceiling, you should make it 4 blocks high to compensate for the ceiling level. And when it's 4 blocks higher, make it 5 for the ceiling, make it 5 blocks higher to accommodate the ceiling. But never make a house that is 2 blocks high. That's just bad. I mean, just don't do it. It like makes you hit your head all the time. Like, aim for at least 3 blocks, 4 blocks preferred, or higher if you want it higher. So what I'm going to do is build this 5 blocks tall around the entire perimeter, and then we can get started. So with this diagonal setting, like I've said before, you need to build diagonal areas with 2 blocks to make it easier to build the glass. And I would actually encourage not to do this unless you gain some experience. But if you want to try it, you can. But just know that it's your funeral, mate, if you mess up. Just joking. There are just some things that don't make sense. How on earth did that villager get here? I didn't spawn him there. He just... It's a nearby village. But just... How? Strange. Okay, now that I've built the whole walls for the first story, it's time to teach you a teeny little bit on floor building. Now, building floor is a bit of an art. You need to, like, choose a good palette for it. Now, I think I'm going to use floor designs that I used in the other place over there, and a little bit of other things. So, what I'm going to do is, for this room, I'm going to alternate between andesite and diorite, the polished variants, similar to what I did in the other place, to build a tiled floor of this design, which goes pretty well with the polished granite, if I would say so myself. And yeah, I don't really use these 1.8 blocks. I mean, I use andesite quite a bit, diorite somewhat, but I rarely actually use granite. In fact, I used to hate granite. It was one of the hardest blocks to use, but now I'm starting to see what granite can actually do. So yeah, floor design is also pretty good when it comes to palettes. So I recommend experimenting with blocks. You can like build a floorboard design using like stripped logs. You can build a tessellating floor design out of like log blocks or like basalt or polished basalt are good blocks for that. And there are a lot of things you can do to make floors, and you can just make a single palette floor, which a lot of the time that's completely fine. Or you can alternate. It also goes well from like point 4, which is like experimentation in detail. So floors are really good to help you improve your skills at this game. So I recommend experimenting with your floor designs. I was just trying a little experimentation with the basalt. I mean, it's a decent floor, but it's not as fancy as I want it to be, so I'll just swap out the basalt with polished basalt. Okay, that's more like it. So I think I will transition from here, although maybe it should be shifted a block. I'll do a little bit of this stuff, because I definitely like this floor here, and I definitely want to build a hardwood floor there. Yeah, that definitely transitions much smoother. So yeah, this would definitely be good. Ah yes, perfection. Alright, now to get for this hardwood floor. I've done some shorts on my basalt and hardwood floor, so they would be good to check out. So how to build my hardwood things I usually do is usually use 2 or 3 of these in a row, so like this, and then alternate, and then like randomize it a little bit. And then this should make a pretty decent looking floor. And then like do this along all the sides, and then try not to make too many seams if possible. But it's a bit of an art on how to build this, so it takes a while to master. So, oops, same piece of wood. But yeah, this is coming pretty reasonably well, if I would say so myself. So, okay, that's a pretty good hardwood floor done. Yeah, so these are pretty good floor designs, if I should tell you, and then you can just experiment to find others. But try to make sure they suit with the palette. Like, usually grays are a fail-safe. And then, so these are pretty easy. These generally only work with certain houses, usually grey, and maybe they go with brick, they go with diorite, and white is okay too. Neutral colours, this will go with most all neutral colours. But you gotta be careful with your colouring, because sometimes it won't work. But yeah, it's all a art. Building is an art, you gotta remember that. Okay, I think I'm gonna build the ceiling now, so what I want is, this area will be single story, this area here is probably going to have an open roof design, and this area will be 2 stories and we'll be able to look out on the way. I might make this area 2 story, but I'm still thinking, but yeah, so what I want to do is I want some jungle wood for the 2nd story as you saw on my palette, and then I'll just build it on top of here. How long is this villager actually going to survive out here? I actually might just pay him a kindness and get him a little something to do in his free time. Let's see, what should I get him to do? Ah, yes, a lectern. He'll be a happy villager after that. But yeah, I've built 5 blocks up here, and now I think I might build the ceiling. So the only ceiling I'll have to build is here. So ceilings is kind of interesting. You gotta make sure it can match the top of here and also make a good floor for the bottom of here, unless you make it a 2 block, which also can be done. And a block that goes well with both these. I'm thinking birchwood. Or I might do the design I use here but out of birch logs. Strip birch logs. Yep, that's what I'm doing. I'm so doing that. Okay, I've got it done. It looks pretty nice. Although a reminder why sometimes it's good to make most of your areas odd areas is because, like, this seam would have looked like this on this side. I mean, it's not much to sneeze at when it comes to birch, but it would have been a lot harder to deal with had I built this out of basalt. But yeah, that's why it's often a good idea to build odd block wide buildings. The main thing I would use in even block wide is if you want 2 doors, and usually double doors are needed when you're dealing with villagers. So yeah, most of the time stick with odd areas unless you're building it for villagers or really want double doors. So yeah, I got this done, but it was not as easy because I had to cover this entire area so I could place the blocks properly. So now I'm gonna have to destroy this ceiling. Things I do to build. You know, maybe I should just stop doing building videos and just stick to redstone. Okay, now that I've got the actual, like, walls done and most of the floors and the ceilings done, now we can finish off building, like, the detail along the side of the house. Okay, so I got the necessary blocks to start building my palette. I also plan on building some foundation areas using the polished deep slate variants down here, because this will help to make the foundation look a lot more natural, and then maybe use a bit of an arch right here around the lake. And so when you're dealing with this areas, the best place to build your side blocks are along these side areas here, because like I said, it's going to be a lot trickier to do this area, and I may as well extend them below where the dirt areas are. This will make it easier when I build the foundation. So this will be a good area for these, and then I might put it here but only slightly downwards. These look like good areas for these, and then like for this area, since I'm using jungle, I'll stack it up here and up here. Although here's a bit technical because like the roof here will meld, but then eventually this will end up here, I think. But I might change this if I need to, so I think it should be fine. But we'll see when we get the roof done. And that should be all this area done, so now I can focus on the next point. Point 4. Detailing and experimentation. Now, when it comes to detailing this area, glass windows are a good idea. So when I was building this area, I was actually exactly very specific on what I wanted here. So it's a good idea to factor that in when you start building. So I wanted a window right here, and then this can, pretty sure I chose this for here, and then I can do my side areas like my usual way, and this should be a pretty good indicator on how I'm building this area. And then with the basalt put in place like so, that's pretty well detailed. And are there buttons that can blend well? If I put a button like this here, does that add? Like sometimes it's a good idea to add buttons if you want to make some knops and stuff, but you gotta do it sparingly. So yeah, I think I'll just go without them, but we'll see. Now, just a reminder that building side windows can be a bit tricky. You gotta choose where you actually want the windows to go and whether you want the side areas, if you want side areas. But that looks decent. I could add a bit of a window sill if I want to, but actually that looks reasonable. Maybe I could alter a little bit more, but about this. But remember, experimentation is a key to making great looking builds. I like that. That looks pretty decent. I think I might build a foundation here, starting with just basic polished deep slate here. And then I could maybe alternate some stairs along the sides. Or I could do... Ooh, I think I'm onto a winner. So yeah, as you can see, it's all about experimentation. Experimentation, like I've said before, shows how creative you can be with your concepts. So, let's see if I can do something along this lines. Nah, that doesn't suit too well, but maybe this? Yeah, that's pretty decent. And up here, make some areas where I would eventually put something along the lines of basalt. Well, basalt doesn't really blend well around the corners, but what if I did it like that? That doesn't look too bad, but I'll see how it goes. Maybe just using normal basalt or another block that looks just like it. Not bad if I was as myself. Maybe I could extend this window out a little bit that way, but I think that looks pretty good. Now, probably just going to do windows just like that on each side of this area. That should do the trick, although it's a bit tricky to detail corners. Okay, I think I've roughly finished the palette and all the experimentation. I've got all the second sides done, so hopefully this should all be good enough. And it's a bit tricky blending the foundation, but I did manage to get this part reasonably symmetrical. I might be able to change it. No, usually every time I try it like that, it won't work. So this should be reasonably good. Or I could maybe swap it out for... Nah, I'll put this stuff here. This should give slightly better contrast for here. I'm not certain if I like it. What about basalt? I think that's better. But I wish it didn't have a seam, but I think it's definitely better than the other two, so I think I'll keep it like that. So now, I can do roughly the same thing here, and then some more experimentation up here, and then I'll be ready to install the roof. Okay, here's a cool trick you can sometimes do. When using stairs, you can make little indents like this, and you can even make them have some cool little ends, such as this if you like. You gotta be careful with how you do this type of stuff, but I think it looks better like this, but gives you some good options when you can't really fit it in or will look a little weird. And what about this area? Should I make this entire thing rest upon a little archway like this? This might have a pretty interesting feel. Oh, not bad. And then I could maybe add some stairs here to add a little bit of interest. Huh, Nice, I like this. A little overhang here might be a cool idea. Like that. And then maybe a slab on the bottom. I think that's good. And then I can place some windows in here. Maybe a darker shade. Maybe oak would do better for this window. Yeah, not bad. And then I could maybe build this out as a porch. Not too bad, I think. You may be wondering why this is off center, but it's because of the way this works. Like, the roof will generally go over this way, and there'll be a bit of roof around this area that will blend it together to make opening for this staircase. And then in here, once the roof is done, it's going to have some struts and supports inside of here. And it needs to be lighted well. Whereas lighting in 1.17 is not that easy, but once 1.18 is out, it's going to be easier. You see, mobs spawn at a light level of 7 or less when it comes to lighting this, and we'll have to make sure there's nothing at 7. It'll have to be 8 or above. But once 1.18 is out, it's going to be 0. So you got to make sure all the light is at 1 at least once 1.18 is out. Say for example, this area I can use for an example. If I press F3, you can see there are areas in here, some areas, where light is at 7. So you can see that 7 and below is where mobs spawn. So if I want to make sure that no mobs spawn here, I'll have to add some lanterns and torches. I'll get some lanterns, and for now I'll just place them here, here, there and there, and that might not be just enough, but once I add some torches, like I'm gonna have torches along a lot of the side areas, and there'll eventually be some torches here. But for the moment, this hopefully should be enough to keep the light at a decent level. Let's see, 10, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I think this has fixed it. So that will do for now, but you gotta make sure you don't have any light that is at 7 or less. But this will be much easier when 1.18 comes out. Okay, I've started doing the palette for the second story, and so far it's coming out reasonably well. It does look a bit weird at the top, but it will look a lot better once the roof is in. And then hopefully I can just keep doing this along all the sides, and this should all blend well. Of course, this area will be very tricky, but once the roof is in, it will all make sense. Oh, there's a floor that came out in the design. That looks reasonably well. Doesn't look like there's anything off. And I could add some trap doors here to add a little bit of interest along this area. Okay, that looks reasonably okay. This area will be a bit tricky, so I'm gonna finish off the second paneling once I get the roof for this area done. But now we can get on to staircase design. Now staircase design, the more natural the better it looks. So for this design, I think it's natural to build this area out of andesite, I think. And then having an andesite staircase that leads there, to fill in this area. Like here, here, and here. And then along this area I can build up the railing to make it look safe. Okay, it's no polish andesite, but this ought to do the trick. Okay, so that looks reasonably good. And it's a good idea to maybe put a torch or a lantern underneath something like this to make it a little bit easier. Like, you can easily turn this into some sort of supply closet thing by just adding more walls and stuff. But yeah, this will make a good staircase to get up here. Now, all I need to do is to figure out how to get this to work. What I think will work is if we build it down like this, and then maybe put some of this here, and then put some guide rails along here, and then keep this going downwards. Probably one more block. And then, clear this area, it should all be good. Oops, wrong place for that. And just need some wall. of this type. And and then continue it up here. And I think this, once we extend this down, will make a good entrance into the house. And then torches might make a good addition to light up the area. And there, this makes a good front porch area. Now, sometimes it's just a good idea to use ladders, because there's no way to incorporate a staircase that doesn't match, so this should do the trick. Well, it's not really centered, but you gotta bear in mind that chests are gonna go here, and it can't really go where the door is, but this will make a good area for the bedroom, I think. So what my plans are in the next video is to like add some more decor and stuff. Now with all this done, it's now to go on to point 5, the most important part, which as you well know, is to build a roof. Now I'm going to start with the area which should be the simplest when it comes to building a roof, and it's going to be the top of this area, which should just be building a normal slab block alternating roof. And then this will have some good supports later on. So once I get this roof done, it should make this area look reasonably good. It's kind of funny, I don't often use bricks too much. I used to use them, but a little bit, and then I stopped, and now I'm back to using them a reasonable amount. So this should end up making a very good roof for here. So now that I've got the basics here, you gotta remember like how it goes. So right where the edge is, 2 blocks. Okay, that looks reasonably good. Just double check, and then this roof should be quite easy. With this brick roof done, you can kind of see the envision I had from the get-go of this house. However, there's one thing missing. A little bit of a front here would make this house look even better. Okay, that looks reasonably good, and I can just do this on the other side. Okay, that's the other side done. So this is most of this area done. Now for the tricky part. This roof is going to be a little bit trickier. So what I plan to do is have probably a box standard staircase style roof here, and in this area I'm thinking I might expand it out 1 more story just to add some more detailed roof, and then this should be the entire structure done. Okay, I think I've got the whole roof design for this area at least done. So this area, I think it's gonna come along here, but twist at a right angle and connect to this side here, and then like this will be, or maybe I should just keep the original. Yeah, maybe I'll do it just flat here, but I will try to see if a right angle will work. This part is a bit tedious because I have to do it in 2 layers to make sure it all connects. This roof should be okay. I think I will have to build out up a story, but then we'll have a good area that light looks out. But would I use the same palette here or use that palette? I might try that palette. Okay, this is gonna have some interesting blending problems, because I managed to solve the worst of it, which is here, but it will have some interesting artifacts that end up combining when this roof comes here. I mean, if I do try to use this roof, I'm probably gonna have to build it out, then blend this thing further back and get rid of this area, but it shouldn't be that hard to do. But what I need now is some stripped spruce wood, like this, and then all I've got to do is come along here and place this down, I believe, and then this should be as simple as palette making is down here, except that I use the palette that's there, and this should be simple to do. Okay, I think I've got the palette and experimental stuff done on this section now. Kind of copies what's below it, but a bit differently. So hopefully now I can get the final bit of this brick roof over here. More of a square variant, built mostly out of slabs. Okay, so this roof, what I'm going to do is alternate between like slabs and blocks as it meets up. And hopefully it all meets up in the middle. And then I'll just blend this in properly. And then that'll be the whole roof. Okay, this section is where it starts to get tricky, because now I gotta alternate between brick, slabs, brick, and then brick slabs. So these types of roofs can be really tricky when you're building it on diagonal buildings, I recommend not doing diagonal until you're like really good. And when you do, start with like 1 block diagonal ways, and don't go to 2 or 3 blocks per diagonal edge, which has a slightly less of an angle, until you're like really good at this. So I'd recommend sticking to like horizontal a little bit until you can get diagonal. So yeah, just be a bit careful. I just thought I'd show you to show how I actually managed to get that diagonal part on copper mana. So hopefully this won't be too hard. I mean, you can try it, but like I said earlier, like, it's your risk if you want to try it, but it can come out well. We just don't know. But yeah, it's just a bit tricky on new people to try something like this, so it's best to stick to, well, 90-degree angles and not the 45-degree diagonal. Even shallower stuff can be even trickier, so just keep that in mind when you're building. Okay, so I've got the entire roof finished, and I decided that this area was a bit, like, I couldn't try to put a brick there or have an awkward gap. But what I did do was I ended up getting rid of this window. What I did was I overhang 2 doors on these grass blocks, and then I put this area over here, and then this is now an entrance, and I've started to line it up around the windows. And what I'll need to do here is build some support beams to help to light this area up using lanterns. And that should be this entire area done. Okay, now that I've got a bit of a beam here, I need to figure out how to do this. So what my plan will be is right in the center, put a chain, maybe 2 chains, on the same area, if I can hit it right. Chains are really awkward. And then a lantern here. And it should be just out of reach for you not to hit your head. And I can just do stuff like this along here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So along 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I put one here, hopefully this will be a good way to light it. Oh yeah, these areas will probably need another one. So I'll put one here. Yeah, lighting is tricky. But that looks reasonably okay, but I better do a quick perimeter check. Oh, there's still some at 7. But what does it matter anyway? 1.18 is literally only days away from release, so that shouldn't really have to matter much. So if I just continue lighting around here, that should be everything done. Torches here for decoration. That area is completely fine. This area, on the other hand, could use some lighting. Okay, I've done all the framing for the houses, so now the framing is in with some good lighting up here. I guess get rid of those zombies. And down here, this place is all lit up, but it needs all its interior, which, as you know, I'm doing the next video. And then all the framing in here is just about done. It does look a little bit excessive, but you won't have to do this much more in this way once 1.18 is out. And then out here, everything should be done. Okay, so the whole house should be finished now. This is what it looks like from the outside. Then there's this section with the stairway up to it with a small porch. Then there's the side area here. This is where the roof blends down here, and I thought I may as well leave this place a little bit empty. It's not that bad, but this could use a piece of wood here. There we go. And in this area, oh, I forgot about this area. What would I do here? That's okay, I guess. Maybe something with slabs might be a better idea. Like my old diamond trick. This... Okay, that works. It's not the best, but it will do. I mean, that's the least seen side of this place, and it's better than some people that don't even complete the back till the last minute. So, now that that's done, this should all be complete. As you can see, this is a lovely looking area. I'm going to call this Lakeside Manor. And in the next video, you're going to see me do the interior. Well, the furniture mostly. Okay, so this is going to be the end of this building tutorial. I hope you did enjoy it. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like, and if you'd like to see more and support my channel, hit that subscribe channel. I mean, I put a lot of effort into these builds for you, so you could put some effort into hitting that button. It only takes a click, so why not do it? And the more subscribers I get, the more it motivates me to do videos. So thank you for supporting my channel who's already done it, and I'd like to see you in the next video where I get the furniture installed. This is 8677716. Goodbye!